Hey, out there, everybody in internet space. It's your bearded brothers, and we are coming back right at you with yet another sports podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm breathing.
That's the brother Chris. And we are your bearded brothers, of course. And we are here to talk about stuff in the world of sports, or at least hockey and football for the moment, because neither of us really watches enough baseball, and basketball hasn't been the same in probably a decade that I've given a crap about.
The only thing baseball related that I even pay slightly attention to is going, have the Twins sold yet? No? Alright.
I'm not a big fan of Carl Poland.
Well, I know that they are selling. I just don't.
They were supposed to be. I thought it was.
They're still in the process.
They're
of
still
everything.
in the process of trying to sell that, and then the Wolves were
From my
supposed to be
understanding,
sold.
is it's basically down to like. It's apparently from my understanding, it's basically almost a done deal. Apparently, from what I've heard last, but I guess it's probably
I just hope that the
you know how changing franchises go. It's always a lot of paperwork and shit.
Yeah, and the good news is they can't move for I think another 10 years anyway because they were.
No, I don't think they'll. I don't think they plan on moving. I think.
Well,
just
and
new
even
ownership.
if they wanted to, they are. When we built the new stadium, we locked them in for a certain amount of time that they have to play.
Yeah.
Contractually. And they'd have to fight it in the courts, and by the time they were done fighting it in the courts, the lease would be up anyway, so there'd be no point.
Yeah.
We know how long that would take. So, yeah, whoever buys them just has to know that they're going to be in Minneapolis for a while. I also hope that the Wolves are going to get sold because Glenn Taylor is also a piece of human trash that I dislike.
I don't think that one's going to happen anytime soon.
Well, there was a deal, and I believe A-Rod and another... Loria? Was it Jeff Loria? It was somebody. They had a deal in place where they were going to pay over time and accumulate more of the shares, and then they missed a payment or something happened, and the whole deal got scrapped.
Of course.
So, all right. Let's see here. What should we talk about first? You know what? I'm going to start off by saying something that I wish I didn't have to say. Congratulations, okay. Ohio State University. It feels, yeah.
I told you that this might happen last week, though. I was like, I'm pretty sure Ohio's going to
and like Notre Dame, their first half was garbage, and they tried to make that comeback in the second half, and they pulled it to within 8, and then Ohio State whooped them. Ohio State is your national champions. I'm a little upset and peeved about it because I don't like Ohio State, but...
I'm not shocked at it, though.
I'm not shocked at all. I just wish... My big thing is that Ohio State fans are very much like the Cowboys fans. They're arrogant, and they always think they're going to win. Always.
To be fair, they have been good for a long time.
They have been good for a very long time. They're always at the top of the Big Ten. Always.
They're almost always in the playoffs. Yeah.
They're almost always in the college playoffs since that's been a thing. They're always...
Yeah.
They've been in the running easily. In my mind, Ohio State's been one of those schools that just churns out NFL prospects and wins national championships since probably, the 90s?
Yeah, they're basically like an Alabama or an LSU.
Yeah.
Like those are like...
Although LSU's had a bit of a dip recently.
They've had a dip recently, but they've had some good moments for sure.
Yeah, and Alabama looks like it might be headed for a little bit of a dip.
A little bit of a dip as well, which is why I think Ohio's trying to jump on top, because this is, Alabama had its dynasty, maybe Ohio's turn, right? Like they're
Ohio
obviously
State's
thinking
turn
that.
Again. It's like, come on.
Yeah. So they're thinking, next 5 years is going to be Ohio State, baby. Which,
the next two big pieces of news. First, the Indianapolis Colts have hired their new defensive coordinator, Anarumo, who was the guy, in case you remember that name, that was the guy who got fired by the Bengals as defensive coordinator. So the Colts went, a guy that let in a lot of points and Well, he's got to be better than our defensive coordinator because we sucked.
What?
And the Chicago Bears have hired their new head coach, and it is Ben Johnson. That's
Not
been,
confirmed, I don't think yet, but
as far
like
as I
not
know,
by
it
official wire, it hasn't. But it's pretty much everyone's basically been like, yeah, it's pretty much a done deal.
I think the only thing that hasn't happened is him officially putting his name on the contract.
On the
But
paper, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
everything
Yeah.
else is done. So unless he pulls a Belichick,
Which he can,
and
because he still
backs
hasn't
out.
signed his name on that.
Yeah, unless he pulls a Belichick and backs out at the witching hour here.
Yeah.
It looks like the Bears will have Ben Johnson as their head coach next year.
I mean, even he, and I don't think that he'll back out too, because apparently even he's come out and said that, like, apparently he had a good gut feeling about how the Bears are building.
Yeah, and
so,
I'm going to say that the Bears do have a good team, mostly.
yeah.
But they've had crap coaching for a while.
They have, but at the same time, you look at it and you go, is it really coaching or is it organizational? Because, like, yeah, Matt Nagy had his issues, but then he went to the Chiefs as an offensive coordinator and has looked fine. Like, is it an issue? It just feels like every time they lose a head coach, they become a coordinator somewhere else and do fine. So I'm starting to wonder, is it... I understand that there are certain people that are good head coaches versus good coordinators and vice versa. I understand that. I'm just saying, what are the odds that the Bears 4 times in a row picked a person that happens to be really good as a coordinator and not a head coach?
Well, I'm going to laugh if Eberflus goes somewhere as a DC and turns in a stellar performance.
That's what I'm saying. I'm starting to suspect that. I'm wondering if there's more...
We'll see.
I wonder if there's more fingers in that pie than we suspect there is.
And we'll see. Because everybody knows this is not a hire that everybody goes, who or what?
Yeah.
What are you thinking? This is one of those hires where everybody goes, oh, yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah.
And because of that, now if it doesn't work, we'll know. I feel like this is nut cutting time for the Bears. We're going to find out if it's been just coaching or if there is an organizational issue.
Problem, yeah.
Now, it's also come out that the 2 other people that Ben would like to join his staff, he wants to get Dennis Allen, the former head coach of the Saints, as his defensive coordinator.
Maybe.
Which, that's not horrible. And then he would like to get Rizzi, the current interim coach of the Saints, if they don't retain him, and he would like to make him the special teams coordinator.
Yeah.
And those...
I also heard somebody trying to pick up Anthony Pierce from the Raiders as a coordinator, but I forget who. I heard that as a rumor.
Yeah, he was not a bad defensive coordinator, so...
No, yeah. So I've heard that sounds like he's going to get a defensive coordinator job somewhere. I just forget where.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head.
That's not a bad thing. Maybe go to, I don't know, Cincinnati? They need a new defensive coordinator.
That's true. Yeah.
So now it's just a matter of what does Jerry do about head coach in Dallas.
There's been a lot of rumors in that.
There's
Jesus
so
Christ.
many rumors swirling.
I can't trust any of them because I've heard so many of them.
Yeah, I have a hot potato about it, and I think I do anyway. If not, we'll talk more at the end of the broadcast here about that. And then the last thing that I have is hockey related, and that is Connor McDavid, the consensus best player in hockey right now, has just been handed a 3-game suspension.
Oh, nice.
He cross-checked a dude in the face.
I'm going to assume he deserved it.
I don't know. Because Connor's been acting a little bit...
It's hard for him to do.
But yeah, yeah, I don't know. Connor McDavid's been acting very un-Connor McDavid recently. For example, he's the reason that the Wild's Marcus Johansson is on the shelf with a concussion.
Oh,
He skated by him, and as Johansson was coming by him, Connor stuck his elbow out and got him right in the head.
why?
Was not assessed a penalty for that, by the way.
Well, it's because they can deem it to be accidental and not on
Oops.
purpose.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this time he cross-checked a dude in the face. And
I was going to assume that
went,
enough accidents have finally happened where they
Yeah.
went, Connor, come on.
Come on, calm down. But the guy that he was getting into it with also got 3 games. So
That's what I'm saying. So I assume they got into a
yeah,
fight.
they got into it, and he cross-checked the dude in the face, and they both got 3 games for it.
Yeah.
They were both assessed a match penalty anyway, a match misconduct. So yeah, that was the big news because everybody was like, "Oh, Connor's he's not gonna get suspended. It's Connor McDavid." Well,
Yeah, you do enough bad things, eventually you're going to get suspended.
do enough bad things, eventually you're gonna get suspended. Do
The
you
only
have
other
anything
news?
else?
I was going to say the only other news that I've seen is it sounds like more or less Brian Flores will probably end up staying as the Vikings defensive coordinator. Apparently he's interviewed at a couple places, but like for example, the Jaguars are doing their second round of interviews, and Flores was not chosen as a second round choice. And we know that he's also already said that he's only interested in leaving for a proper position. Well, if we look at the Raiders, if we look at, I don't know,
Saints.
all the Saints. Who else is left? Raiders,
Jets.
Saints, Jets. None of them sound like promising prospects.
Cowboys.
Right. Cowboys. Again, he doesn't. I don't think he wanted to work for that owner.
No,
like he
I don't think
interviewed
he
for the
does either.
Jaguars because he was the most interested in that one, and
Yeah,
and
I
obviously he didn't even
honestly
get
feel
called back for a
there's
second interview.
There's nobody left that I think he wants to go and.
I don't think he's interested in anyone
I
else.
don't think he's interested in any of the other jobs that are currently
No.
available. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure at this point he's staying. The other news related to that, obviously, is there's a lot of rumors swirling KOC's contract and potential extension. A lot of people are saying that he's unhappy, which, as far as I can tell, there is zero proof of at all. If anything, there seems to be a lot of proof of him saying, "No, I want to stay. I like it here. I like the ownership. I like the team."
I haven't heard, from his
like,
lips, I haven't heard any of that.
No, exactly. Like I saw Mike Florio put out stuff. Normally he's pretty good, but like I saw him put out a whole thing about talking how there's like stress in the building and stuff, and I'm just like, dude, don't make up bullshit. It feels like like listening to what Mike Florio had to say. It honestly, it's one of the few times I'm gonna push back on him and go, dude, it sounds like you heard a couple of people chatting and just saying that contract extensions haven't gotten done, and that maybe like the agents or something are just working tirelessly to get it done, and that's the issue, right? Like, the idea that he was the first person I saw try to push out this whole like there's conflict within the organization, which made no sense. He brought no proof of it whatsoever, then continued to talk about it because a contract extension hadn't been done. So because it hadn't been done, that must mean that there is some type of issue. That's not how that works.
Speaking of,
did we just get the news for it?
Speaking of, Vikings and head coach Kevin O'Connell have reached an agreement on a multi-year contract extension.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I don't know.
Whatever that was.
I don't know what Mike Florio was trying to push out. When I first saw that, I was like,
and
dude,
I'm
you're
not
a guy
sure if
that
it
normally
was
has good ties to the Vikings. I don't even know what the fuck you're getting this
Well,
from.
and so sometimes they do things like that. The agent will contact guys
That's
like
what
that
I'm saying. I can only think it's the agents.
to push out a narrative because they want it to seem like if my guy doesn't get the number he's looking for, he's gonna walk, and we're trying to get ahead of you. We're gonna blame it on you.
Yeah,
that's an agent negotiation tactic usually.
It is, but it
99%
felt so
of the
hollow.
time you hear that, you go, yeah, the agent's trying to get his guy some money.
Well, no, exactly. It just felt so hollow, and the thing is, I read it right away, and that's the only reason I'm harping on the Mike Florio thing is because he's significantly older than you and I. He's been around the industry long enough. He should know exactly what was happening.
Oh, yeah.
And to still report that as if it's actual news, it feels like you ran out of things to talk about.
Well, and the reason why he's going to report that is if it's actual news. If he doesn't, then the agent that gave him the juicy bit won't give him anything else.
Won't use them again. That's
yeah,
true.
so there's a give and take there. Even if you don't believe it, sometimes you still have to put it out there into the ether because you're going to want to get more legitimate crap from them later on. I understand the give and take on this.
It still
it feels
wrong,
scummy, but it's a give and take industry about that. And if we have nothing else, because now that we have KOC locked up to a multi-year extension.
Yeah, no numbers or anything yet, since we only just get the word, but
yeah, we don't know the numbers.
It does.
Like, we don't know the numbers on what is supposedly Ben Johnson's contract either.
No.
But
I'm assuming it's going to be a 4-year contract or something like that.
I assume it will, and I assume KOC's getting like a 4 to 5 year extension.
Reported on Tuesday. The team announced it shortly after.
Yeah, they're not going to have numbers for Johnson yet. Most teams like to keep that pretty mum.
Yeah, I was just seeing if there was any news on at least years for O'Connell's contract.
All right, so we're gonna talk games. It was the divisional round weekend this weekend, and we're not gonna do a black screen this time. I'm gonna do it the way we used to do it, where down here you're gonna see the games. They're gonna slide in, and you're gonna be able to look at them because there's only 4 games, so it's not like, there's not a need for a big screen for you guys. Now you can just see it the way we used to do it because there's no point to doing it otherwise, I don't have to put up 16 games. Makes my life easier. You ready to do this?
Yeah, I was just trying to see if because it was up on official
NFL site as well.
Official, yeah. Well, I was checking out the Minnesota's website because they had announced it as well to see if there no announcement on years or money yet. I'm sure that'll come shortly.
I'm sure that'll come through eventually for us.
At least years. We might not get money, but we'll definitely.
We'll probably get the years. So we're gonna start with one of the games that I feel like had some egregious ref issues. Oh, it was bad.
I think I don't think it was as bad as you think it was, but that's okay.
Well, there was at least one call that was absolute, utter bullshit.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the Texans and the Chiefs. We both picked the Chiefs to win. We were both correct. Chiefs do win 23-14. The call I want to talk about off the top is the roughing the quarterback call when he slid. First off, they came nowhere near him.
No.
They didn't hit him. They hit each other. They helmet to helmet. The defenders hit helmet to helmet on each other and missed him entirely.
No.
And you know what? Someone said it, and I don't remember where I heard it. But the more I've watched him, the more I'm noticing it. He is baiting penalties. Mahomes.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
100%. He'll wait to the last minute to slide until you're already into your tackle, moving to tackle, then he'll slide.
Yeah.
Or he will wait by the sideline as he's trying to go out of bounds just to see if he can get you to shove him when he goes out of bounds.
Yeah.
He's 100% trying to bait penalties.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And frankly, it's going to take one really pissed off defender to notice that he's doing that and just dive at his knee and take whatever punishment comes and just destroy him.
Yeah. I was going to say, some QBs do it worse than others. All of them do it to an extent, but Mahomes does it the worst out of all of them.
Yes. And somebody is going to get really pissed off and it's going to cost him more than he wants to pay. Because some no-name defender who does not care is going to light him up.
I'm honestly shocked he still hasn't taken a harder hit than he's already had.
I agree.
But that's why I also agree with which defender was it? Was it one of the defensive coordinators? I think it was the defensive coordinator for the Lions when they faced off against the Chiefs. There was that shot. One of the Lions defenders took a shot at Mahomes' legs when he was toe tapping the sideline, right? to shove him out of bounds. So he ended up, tackling him and hitting him in the legs and everybody. And there was no penalty on it, but I remember the play because a lot of people were like, "Oh, that should have been a late hit." No, the guy Mahomes was inbounds. Defender went and took his legs out. Too fucking bad. If you're gonna try to tiptoe that fucking sideline, you're gonna get hit.
Yeah, if you're gonna try to go for getting
I
penalties,
I think refs have to stop calling penalties on late hits out of bounds like that. Like some of them are pretty egregious, but ones where they just got a foot out of bounds, call a late hit. No, because quite often, especially QBs and running backs do it all the time now. They toe tap that sidelines all the time. They try to purposely get the penalties on the sidelines. Wide receivers are starting to do it now too.
Yep.
They're all doing it.
Yep.
So if I'm a ref, I'm just gonna be like, I'm not calling those now. I'm not gonna call those close ones now.
Yep.
I'm gonna call them only when they're super egregious.
Yep. And I also think that we need to have reviewable and maybe put into the rule book that if you as a quarterback begin your slide after the defenders have begun their motion to tackle you, if they hit you, it's not roughing. Period.
Oh yeah, because they've already started their
movement to tackle you, and then you decide to slide.
Yeah.
If you've decided to slide well in advance because you see them coming and you slide, and they haven't started that tackle movement yet, you're clear if they hit you. That's a penalty. But if they've already started that movement to come get you, and then you decide I'm going to be a bitch and slide, and you get hit, that should not be a flag at all.
Yeah.
And that'll take care of, because that'll still protect the QBs that are legitimately trying to slide, and it will get rid of those egregiously stupid flags of people sliding too late, which has become an issue.
We also have to deal with the fake slides because, while I'll say this, Bo Nix did it more perfectly in that one game where it looked, especially in that college game that he did it, he made it look legitimately real. Mahomes, the amount of times I see him run the way he runs, he constantly runs in a way that makes it look like he could slide at any moment. And he does that on purpose to make sure defenders are less likely to hit him really hard. Because look at the way he runs. You can tell at any moment with the way he always has his back foot behind him in the way he does. He always does that because then he can instantly drop into a slide at any moment. It's disgusting behavior, to be completely honest with you. I think the people that prop up Mahomes really need to start looking at it and realize that he's doing the what I call legal cheating. Like, we all know what he's doing basically wrong and not in the spirit of the game, but still is going to take advantage of it because it's completely okay.
Yeah, my thing about the slide, I think that you need to look at how the rule is written, and I feel there needs to be something about not being able to slide on a designed run.
Like if you're purposely, like you can give yourself up, but you can't slide and not take a hit, right? Like, because running backs can give themselves up at any point.
Yeah,
and I think that's fine, but you can't just slide and be completely safe from taking hits.
I
if you're giving yourself up and laying on the ground and you just get two hand touch, that's fine, whatever.
Yeah,
but
yeah. And the thing that I think we need to look at is if you are out scrambling and you have become a runner, congratulations, you're a runner. You cannot slide. You cannot slide and give yourself. I don't care that you're the quarterback.
No.
I honestly,
I'm honestly wondering at this point, as weird as it sounds, if we need to get rid of sliding completely.
I'm kind of going in that direction.
Because the only way you can make that make sense is if you decide to do some weird rule where QBs can slide, but only 5 yards past the line of scrimmage or 10 yards past, or something weird
there needs
that.
To be if you're just trying to get the first down, and then you want to get yourself down so that you don't get hurt. Yeah. Yes, I'd say 5 yards, no more.
Yeah,
give them 5 yards. 5 yards past the line of scrimmage. 10 yards even past the line of scrimmage. If you're just, because that's first down territory. If you want to do 10 yards, get the first down, and then go down, you can slide. You can give yourself up. That's the penalty zone. After that, whatever you do is on you.
Yeah, because the amount of protections QBs have gotten, it's starting like I
It's
know we've
starting to
already talked about
unbalance
how
the
it's
game.
become. Yeah, I was gonna say we've always talked about how like we get why the owners want to protect the QBs of the most paid position and one of the most important positions in the game. But by protecting them so much, you are now making it a game of who can outscore the other team. Like
Yeah,
as much as I hate to say it, like we look at the Commanders and Lions game, like there was no defense.
exactly. And you're going to
Outside of
turn
like
it
picks and stuff,
into
like you couldn't actually attack the QBs. You couldn't hurt the
you're
QBs
going to
much.
turn it into what the NBA has become.
Oh yeah, just super high scoring points.
Yeah.
Who
It's
can outscore the others?
yeah, you're destroying the game.
Yeah, you're getting rid of
I
defense
get
basically.
some of why certain rules are in place for the QB.
Yeah.
Because they don't wear the huge pads
Right. Yeah.
and stuff like that. They're out there and they're going to get hammered.
However, if you're going to run though, that's on you.
Exactly.
You made that choice.
That's on you. Like, I get it. Get out of the way. Try to go do something. Make a little juke, but then get out of bounds. I get it. Don't toe tap. Just get out of bounds. Otherwise, you're going to get hurt. And I think that should be something that needs to be in the back of the heads of quarterbacks. If you want to try to break off that long run, make sure you can and be willing to accept the consequences.
Pretty much.
You know, Lamar does it all the time. He doesn't slide. You don't see him slide very often. He dances and then he gets out of bounds.
He
Hurts is kind of the same way. You don't see him slide a whole lot.
No, not really.
But you can always tell the QBs that are just athletic enough to get out and move and then try to slide and draw the penalties. You see that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know the other guys that they're not going anywhere.
Or you got the guys who if you're the defender you have to be a little scared. Like I don't care who you are. If a Josh Allen's running at you, you know he ain't sliding. That shit's gonna be scary. He's gonna hit you.
The other guy
He's
that
one of the few
like
quarterbacks that's gonna try to run through you.
The other guy that was like that to me, and he was good and bad, and I'm not really sure what to make of him, was Dante Culpepper. The dude was 6'4" or something. He was huge.
Yeah. Big Ben would do that once in a while too.
Yeah,
he wasn't
Ben
fast,
too.
but he
Just
would
truck
still.
Somebody.
Yeah.
He wasn't fast, but he was big.
Big, exactly.
Yeah. So this game really came down to the refs being horrible, and
the refs are not really saving themselves from the whole Chiefs fans kind of thing going on.
No, they're not. Travis Kelce had a really good game though.
Dude, Travis Kelce was that game. What do you mean? Have you checked?
Kelce
Look at how
game.
many. I was gonna say, look at how many pass yards Mahomes has, and then look how many pass yards. Kelce
I think he only
has
like 177. Yeah, he has 177 passing yards, and 117 of them were to fucking Kelce, which means he had 60 yards to people not named Travis Kelce.
Exactly. That was the Travis Kelce game.
So yes, that was the Travis Kelce game. We all knew it was going to happen.
It happens in the playoffs. He gets one every year.
Every year.
Where he has like a massive game every year in the playoffs.
Every year. But yeah, the Chiefs are moving on. We'll talk about who they'll face here in a bit. In the meantime, Commanders at Lions. We both picked the Commanders to win this, and they did.
They did, yeah.
Commanders win 45-31. Primarily because Jared Goff turned the ball over 4 times. 1 on the ground and 3 through the air.
Awful game by Jared Goff.
Oh, God, yes.
The only thing that made it look good was the 300 yards passing, and that was it.
I was going to say yes, but I will also point out, because people are going to want us to, on the pick 6, yes, there should have been a call against the Commanders for a helmet-to-helmet on Goff. However, later on in the game, they called a face mask against the Commanders on Montgomery, which never happened.
Never happened.
Never happened.
There was,
and his body moved in the way that maybe there was a face mask, but then you looked at it and he was catching him from the front and kind of got a little of his pad.
By the shoulder, but he wasn't even close to the face.
No, it was not even close to the face mask.
There was missed penalties all over the field. Like, in general, that happens in the game. We know that happens. The helmet-to-helmet on Goff was very light, to be fair. Like, it wasn't like he full on hit him. It was a little bit under the face mask, a little bit.
A
Okay,
little bit.
fair.
But
Fair. You could technically
technically within the
argue it.
rules, you can
Yes.
call it, yes.
Technically within the rules, it is. Now, to be fair, most refs, from what I've seen, again, there's a little
They're
bit
not
of
going to
leeway.
call that, no.
They're not going to call that most of the time, especially in the playoffs when it's, as we've talked about last week, it's very much in the playoffs. Don't call things unless they're super egregious.
There were
Unless, of
some
course, you're the Chiefs.
amazing plays in this game, though.
There were so many good plays.
Laporta with that one-handed, stupid grab in the end zone. I don't even know how he caught that.
Honestly, it looked like for a second he wasn't going to, but
somehow he did. Then there was a point where De'Ami Brown was way downfield.
Oh, yeah.
And the dude had his hand over
literally covering his face, yeah.
Like covering his face, and Brown just held his arms out and the ball went bloop right in there. Like it was just dropping in.
Yep.
Like, I was like,
hello.
How does Daniels make that throw? It's just so good.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. I don't know. I'm more scared thinking about the fact that he's making these throws as a rookie and only going, man, is he capped out already, or is he going to get better? Because that's
I think
scary.
he gets better, honestly.
Because that's terrifying.
That is very terrifying. Terry McLaurin had a really big one. He had a 58-yarder. The Commanders...
The rushing game for Brian Robinson was pretty good, too. He wasn't
Robinson
great, but he wasn't bad.
Yeah. Dude ran for
and actually, even Jaden
yards.
ran for quite a bit too, right?
Jaden ran for 51, Robinson for 77, and Eckler only touched the ball 6 times and still broke off 47 yards.
47, yeah. He had a pretty
because he had that 35-yarder.
Yeah, he had that big one.
And then Eckler also pulled in 41 receiving yards because he had that 24-yard pass, the 24-yard break.
Yep.
What the crap, man!
Washington is one of those, like, it's also funny, too, how much we made fun of the defense for that team and went, they're not good. And quite frankly, if you look at points for, they're still not good, but yet they somehow are getting turnovers at, like, the most important moments in
games.
And
they're boat racing people.
I just don't.
Boat racing people.
I remember at the beginning of the season, you and I were like, the only way they're winning games is if they out boat race people. We don't think that's going to happen that often because that defense isn't that good. Boy, were we wrong.
Yeah, they had 2
they
sacks.
are about boat racing people.
They had 2
and the
sacks
defense
this
is still
game.
kind of
Both
bad.
of them came off of Dorrance Armstrong. And then they got interceptions from San Rasil, Quan Martin, and Jeremy Chin. The only guy in there that I know the name of is Jeremy Chin. The other two, I'm like, who?
I'm pretty sure, isn't it Quan that got the pick 6?
Yeah. Yeah, Quan got the pick 6. And then Frankie Louvu recovered a fumble.
Oh, Frankie Louvu, yeah.
Frankie Louvu. I wonder who actually caused that fumble. I'm not sure.
No idea.
I don't know.
Might just fumbled the ball, you never know.
Yeah. That's just one of those things, though, where you look at it and you go, you guys cannot have that. About the only guy who came to really play for Detroit that was great. There were a couple of them, actually. Gibbs.
There was 2 big ones, yeah.
Gibbs ran the ball amazingly. That Jameson Williams reverse run.
Yep.
Where they literally looked like they were going to do the cutback, and then they flipped it right after Goff went out, and they had Bridgewater in there, and they handed it to one guy, and he looked like he was going to do the go this way, I'm going to go this way now. And then instead they flipped it to Williams, who took off for 61 yards. I was like, you're not catching him.
Yep.
St. Brown, 137 yards.
Well, yeah.
But, I mean, Gibbs, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, and another 70 through the air.
Yeah. Gibbs had a great game.
Yeah, Gibbs came to play. Some of the rest of the team...
Specifically defense.
Yes, specifically defense, who had no interceptions and no sacks.
Nope.
I feel like if they had a healthy defense, that game has a different result.
Possibly. That's one thing I was talking to our dad about, too, when we were watching the game, is I went, Washington's really good, but I am curious to see what's going to happen in the playoffs when they run up against a really solid defense. Can they still motorboat somebody who's got a good defense?
Well, speaking of, Next game on the list, Rams at Eagles. I picked the Eagles. You picked the Rams.
Close game.
It was a good game, but I got it
The
right.
Rams had a real chance at the very end, but they
They
just
did, and they blew it.
yep.
And
They had a
the
couple
Eagles
mistakes at
win
the end there, and yeah.
28-22, primarily thanks to 205 yards by Saquon fucking Barkley, man.
Though to be fair, if you look at the running for Jalen Hurts, that's not bad either.
No, and he took off. He had the first rushing touchdown, and then they made a joke about it. He had 70 yards on the ground, and he had a 44-yard rush for a touchdown. He made a joke about it. He told Saquon, "Hey, you relax. I got this one."
And Saquon's just like, no.
Okay.
This is my job, bitch. You can't have my job.
Yeah, and
205
Saquon
yards.
broke off runs of like 50-something and 78 for touchdowns, and you just went...
Now, to be fair to those people who didn't possibly watch it, it was a snow game. Didn't start out real bad, but it obviously progressively got worse, especially by the time late third, fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty snowy.
It was a sloppy mess by that point, and I even told you this is going to turn into a slop game, and it did.
Yeah.
Hurts did get sacked 7 times, so you can't
Dude,
say
the Rams defense is no joke.
The Rams were playing very, very well, and then Stafford got sacked 5 times.
Yep.
So this was the score doesn't tell you it, but the defenses in this game were very, very good. Stafford did throw for 324 yards, did not throw an interception. Only threw 2 touchdowns, but he did fumble twice, and he did lose one. And Kyron Williams lost one as well. That's really what killed him, not holding on to the ball. And we're going to see that be a trend in the next game, too, when we get there. But yeah, Jared Verse wound up with 2 sacks. Kobe Turner had a sack. Omar Sprites had a sack. They did all of these sacks, 7 of them, and they lost their other really good. And he got a sack, Braden Fisk, but he went out real early in the game because of an injury. It did not come back.
Unfortunately. He was on the sidelines. He kept looking like he wanted to come back in, but they wouldn't let him.
They would not let him. They were like, nope.
Yep.
I'm not saying anything bad about that. That defense played incredibly good.
They played hard. Yeah.
And both teams played very, very hard. And it could have gone either way. And in the end, the Eagles, because of Saquon Barkley, were the winners. And I still can't believe that in that game, Stafford found a way to throw for 324 yards in that snow. That's
what I'm saying, dude. That tells you how good that guy is.
Yeah.
Like, that's not an easy feat to do.
No, that game was, I think, may also have had the best refs. I had very little issues with the refs in that game.
For the most part, yeah.
There were a couple of calls in the Ravens-Bills game I was not happy with. Some missed.
Most of those were okay for the most part for me, but...
Yeah, there was like a hip drop tackle and an out-of-bounds tackle I think I would have called for Lamar. But
it's funny how... So I gotta go back and gotta check it out if I can, but I remember when they first brought in the hip drop tackle ban, and how I think you and I discussed it and immediately went, they're gonna do exactly what they always do every year whenever they bring up a new rule. They'll over enforce it for the first couple of weeks, especially in preseason, and then all of a sudden you'll see it basically never called.
Yep, and I think that's pretty much what happened.
Because the problem just for that rule just comes down to it's so subjective to the ref.
It really is, and that's good. That's the way it's written is just so bad. Unless you're gonna let computers ref every game.
Yeah. A rule like that is just way too subjective. Yeah, I know the tackle you're talking about, and it could have been flagged absolutely as like an obvious hip drop, like he was behind him, grabbed him by the hips, pulled him down off his full weight.
Dropped his weight, yeah.
Yeah. Like, it was very obviously like the definition of this is a hip drop tackle. Probably should have gotten flagged. The fact it didn't tells me exactly what's going to probably happen in this offseason. They'll probably get rid of the rule because they brought it in to test it out. Going to find out it doesn't work very well, and they'll get rid of it.
Yeah, more than likely.
Or they'll rewrite it or something.
They'll rewrite it, or they'll write part of it into
Another
another rule.
Yeah.
And do you have anything else about that game? I mean, Lamar, the Eagles played. Both of them played really hard.
Yeah, both
the
played pretty
Rams and the
well.
Eagles.
I'm more annoyed with the Rams because I feel like they had so many. They had a really good opportunity at the very end of the game, and they just kind of stuck their own foot in their mouth a handful of times on that last drive.
And I'm going to say the same thing. The same thing will play through to the next game.
Yeah,
Very much so.
They just kind of killed themselves. They had the opportunity and they ruined it for themselves. Quite literally, actually.
In both cases. The Ravens did the same thing. You picked
Yep.
Buffalo. I picked the Ravens for the next game. It was Ravens at Buffalo. Ravens at Bills. 27-25. And you know what killed the Ravens early on in the game? Dropped passes.
The
And
funny
some
thing
of
is,
them were just wide open, and they just bloop.
some of them were so bad. And the funny thing is, I didn't even realize it until I looked at the stats. Josh Allen did not play well.
No.
He played very tame football, and they still won.
Only had 127 yards passing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very tame. He got
Even though his rushing yards is pretty
Buffalo
tame too.
got
Like
outplayed. The
They did,
problem
yeah.
was there were too many mistakes
I was gonna
from
say,
the
yeah.
Ravens. That's what killed them. There was
The
that
Bills,
time.
the Bills got out. The Bills were mostly outplayed, but didn't make a lot of mistakes. Where the Ravens were playing technically better football overall, they made a lot more mistakes.
Essentially, to me, what killed the Ravens is early on when all the dropped passes, all of the open balls, they were just not hit. And then there was the fumble from Lamar early on.
Oh yeah,
where he couldn't quite get the snap, like it bounced up on him.
yeah. I seen
And
the
he
bounce
still
weird,
managed
yeah.
to bring it in, and then he was trying to do something with it. And he looked like he was trying to find a way to get rid of the ball, and he spun around with the ball held out in his hand. And
Yeah, and it dropped right out of his hand.
Like, just take the sack, dude. Tuck it,
Yeah.
take the sack. You're gonna... I was so mad at him. Yeah, and he also threw a very bad interception. He overthrew his receiver by
Oh yeah, I saw
10
that one.
yards. And
That
I was
was
like,
bad,
where
yeah.
are you throwing that?
Yeah, that one was bad.
Yeah. There were some mistakes were made. Andrews had a fumble, Jackson had a fumble, and both of those were lost. And that's really what killed Baltimore. And then Andrews' drop on the goal line.
Oh yeah, the goal line, the 2-point conversion right on the
Right
goal
at
line.
the very end of the game.
Dude,
Because
he knew it too.
If he gets that, it's a tie, and we're going to overtime.
Yeah. He knew right away when he dropped it. He was just like, I can't even.
Yeah. It was.
Now to be fair, it was slick out, so the ball wasn't 100%.
There were some.
There was a little bit there was a little bit of snow early on, and then it kind of went into this more kind of just slickness.
Yeah. Speaking of which, Allen only did throw for 127 yards, but he also ran for 20 and got 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And Ray Davis also scored a touchdown. They got pretty much everything on the ground. Yeah. That's how they got the majority of their points. And yes, it did snow a bit there, and it was slick, and there were some problems. But overall, like, the Ravens vastly, in my opinion, outplayed and outgained Buffalo. And in a game where they don't make these mistakes, they win.
Probably, yeah.
But the number of mistakes they made that were just, what are you thinking?
Pretty much.
That's what killed them. I will say that Buffalo cannot play the way they just did against the Chiefs and expect to win.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Especially because, as much as I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to say it because it's definitely true. At this point, I think there's no argument to be made. If you're the Bills, you're not playing just the Chiefs when you go.
You're playing the rest too. You are absolutely playing the refs. And yes,
So you have
beat
to
them
play
once.
better
You beat them
football.
once this year, but they had to come to you. Now you have to go to
Exactly.
them. You got
You
to
have to play
play at
better, a lot better
Arrowhead.
football.
Yep. You're gonna have to play at Arrowhead, and you're gonna have to play like nearly flawless football.
Pretty much.
You're not gonna be able to play that kind of a garbage game and win. Josh,
Pretty much.
you're gonna have to really step it up. So is Cook, and you guys. Now, yeah, you guys are really gonna have to step it up. There was an injury, and it was for the Commanders. They lost one of their offensive linemen. I cannot remember what his name was, but yeah, they did lose an offensive lineman, and he will not be back for the next round, unfortunately. But yeah, look, the Chiefs. So we do have games that we will talk about. In the meantime, here, you want to hand out? Do you want to? Let's change it up a little bit. Let's hand out some game balls first.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, let's hand out some game balls first. You can start.
All right, Jaden Daniels game ball.
Quite obviously, Saquon Barkley game ball.
Pretty obvious. Travis Kelce game ball.
Jahmyr Gibbs game ball.
Fair enough. Commanders defense game ball.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Who do I want to get my last game ball to? You know what? Despite the fact that you lost, the fact that you threw for 300 yards in the snow, Matt Stafford game ball.
I get it, dude. I get it.
Like, you lost, but damn, that was impressive.
Yeah.
All right. Now we'll tell some people to hit the showers. I'll go ahead and start. The entire Ravens football team, for dropping those passes, for the fumbles, for the miscues, in the shower.
Fair enough. CJ Stroud shower. I don't need to explain myself.
Jared Goff shower. I don't need to explain myself.
Yep, he was on my list too. Josh Allen. Like, I realize it wasn't a bad game, but it certainly was not a Josh Allen game. So.
No, it wasn't. And I feel bad for this last one, because I know, like, I get it. He's just coming back from injury, but if you look at his stats, he should have just stayed off the field. David Montgomery.
Ooh, Montgomery, yeah. He had a rough game, to be honest.
You had a very rough game. You didn't play well. You didn't get out there and make that big of a difference. You probably should have just stayed on the sidelines. I hate to say that.
I can kind of understand where you're coming from.
Definitely not he definitely didn't look 100% to me.
No, he definitely didn't. Ooh, who do I give my last one to now, though? You took my other one. I don't like those options. Let's check here. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. 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 Too much fine.
Ow, that hurt.
No. Gosh. See what you do.
Oh, I see exactly what I did.
Making me go and hunt things down.
I mean, I got another one that you can have if you want him.
No, it's fine. I'm kind of just looking. You know what? Found one that's funny. 7 targets, only 2 receptions. AJ Brown. You, sir, should go take a shower.
Leave your book outside the shower, though.
Yeah, leave your book out. You don't want to get that wet.
You don't want to get that wet. Inferno?
Sure.
You could start.
All right. The Texans as a whole are in my fifth circle. Mostly for various reasons. I mean, I'm gonna be honest and just look at it for the season as a whole and go, honestly, this comparatively to the last season was an incredibly disappointing season based upon what we expected. And that's the main reason you're in the fifth circle, because there was so much hype surrounding you guys for you guys to do slightly below average, actually, in my opinion, and play kind of football. Like, it's just disappointing.
Nick Sirianni, welcome to the fifth circle. And the reason you're here, this could go either way. But if you lose to a divisional rival in the NFC Championship game, considering all the tumult in your season that is you,
Quite
you
literally.
may not have a job.
I have no idea, dude. That guy is like, I don't know. I have no words. That's all I'm gonna say. I have
no words either. I don't know.
Browns front office in my eighth circle. I just don't trust them. They've made a lot of mistakes. They restructured the Watson contract, which makes me really concerned you're still planning on trying to bring him back for some reason or another. And then there are rumors about you not drafting a QB. Dude, I got no words.
So for me, I didn't say front office, but I should have. In this case, I just said Jim Irsay and Chris Ballard as a whole, as a conglomeration unit for the Colts. 10th circle. You're hiring the guy that got run out of Cincinnati on a rail for your defensive coordinator position? Okay.
Why not? What could
And
go
then
wrong?
Chris Ballard coming out and saying things like, "We are not close."
Yeah. Like, I don't know about you, but if I was the JT, I'd be like, all right, get me the fuck out of here then.
I think if I were a lot of the players there, I'd be like, bye.
I don't want to rebuild. I want to win now. Peace out.
Yep.
All right. For my last one, I did the Cowboys as a whole. Ninth circle. It could be just a Jerry Jones thing. It could be, but I'm starting to wonder if you guys have a lot more fucking issues going on. It just feels like no matter how many times on paper you guys have a good team, something fucking goes wrong. I don't understand it. I don't get it. All I know is that you guys have a large problem, and I don't think it's just Jerry Jones, and that's the part that concerns me greatly.
And for my last one, in the top secret, ultra sanctioned 11th circle, the refs. It was a fucking terrible weekend, guys. You got to do better than that.
We've done that so many times.
We have, but in this case, this was really bad. This is the playoffs. Playoffs? By the way, that commercial, awesome.
Playoffs? Yeah.
Playoffs? The mere fact they got the coach guy to come in to do that.
Got him to come back in to
Yeah.
go, playoffs? Playoffs?
I fucking love it. I love it. Okay. Moving into the potatoes. All right. Let me go with...
I was going to say, I got some fun ones. So.
I got some fun ones, too. I'm going to start with this one, though. Maybe we still haven't seen the last Matt Stafford game?
Maybe he's just getting old enough where you're just gonna kind of have to wonder: is he gonna go to a new team? Is he gonna stay?
He still has 2 years on his contract there in LA.
I know.
They almost won that, and he threw for 300 yards in the snow.
I know. He's just getting old, though. He's getting so injured every year. It seems like he gets injured for like a couple of weeks. This last season wasn't as bad. I think he's always dealing with injuries on his team all the damn time, too. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I can see him coming back. I can see him retiring. It depends, I guess, on, like... Really, it's going to come down to he won't retire just because, like, I can't play anymore. I that could eventually happen. But now I think it's more going to be, from my understanding, they have a lot of kids. So, like, it's going to come down to, does he just decide that he just wants to spend time as his dad now?
Yeah, they do have a lot of kids, but I don't
They have,
blame
like,
him. Have you seen his
6
wife?
kids or 7 kids or something like that? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's trying to catch
crazy.
Phillip Rivers.
You gotta get that 9 kids, man.
Got to have the entire offense taken care of.
My offensive line will be my children.
Not just that, the whole offensive line, the quarterback, the running back, maybe some wide receivers there.
Stafford throws to Stafford. Stafford gets a touchdown. Stafford blocks for Stafford.
That was a great block by
God,
Stafford.
They're not the LA Rams, they're the LA Staffords.
The LA Staffords. I love it. All right.
Yeah, I mean, he could still definitely come back. Honestly, it's not. I think it is going to come down to just the fact of, does he decide he wants to play and potentially get injured more, or does he just love football that much where he's like, I'm just probably going to play until I can't play no more. In which case, if that's the option, then yeah, he's probably coming back. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, for my first one, Aaron Rodgers will be back next season as the Jets quarterback.
I think it really does depend on who they hire, both as a GM and as a coach, and whether or not
He says that, but I really don't believe
But
that.
I'm not worried about him. I'm worried
No,
about
that's
what
true. Yeah, yeah.
they think, the GM and
That's true.
Because they could trade him, they could cut him, they could move him. I don't think he's going to retire. No, I think he's going to be a quarterback somewhere next year. And I would laugh.
To be fair, To be fair, I only wrote down will be back next season. I didn't say specifically Jets when I wrote it down, but I have a feeling it's probably going to be Jets.
You know what I would laugh at is if it wasn't the Jets, if it was the Giants.
Because of the Giants. The amount of people that I've heard who have been making the joke that the Vikings should go grab Aaron Rodgers to complete the trifecta of grabbing Green Bay players.
Yeah. The
Which, to be fair, would
got
be
to go
funny.
from Green Bay to the Jets to the
To the
Vikings.
Jets. Now they got to go to the Vikings.
Yes.
It would be funny, but I don't think we should do it.
No, I don't really want to do that. I don't like Aaron at all. Here we go. Maybe the Cowboys' next mistake, head coach, will be Kellen Moore?
I've heard so many rumors. I've heard Kellen Moore. I've heard Lincoln Riley. I've heard... What was that other college coach that they brought up? There was another one, too. I forget which one it was. Was it the guy from... Was it the guy from Notre Dame? No, I don't think so. I don't... There was one other college coach that got brought up.
ASU, maybe?
Yeah, ASU.
Arizona State.
Yeah. The minute you said that, I was like, "Yep, that guy." Nope, that's.
I can't remember his name, but he had a hell of a year this year.
He had a hell of a year, so that was rumored as well. So I've heard so many rumors. I don't trust a damn one of them because at this point you don't know which rumors are actually real versus Cowboys fans just putting it out there and going, "Please make this happen."
And then you've also heard Prime, obviously.
Yeah, Prime, which is definitely not going to happen.
So, here's my theory. Here's my thoughts. What kind of coach does Jerry generally hire?
Coaches he can bully.
And somebody who's maybe been in the organization already. He likes that. Kellen Moore.
There's a little bit of that, yeah.
Organization already, knows the organization, and somebody who Jerry could just puppet.
Yeah, but if we're going to go based on that, I mean, McCarthy wasn't part of the organization.
No, but he was somebody who was affable enough for Jerry to bully.
True. I don't know. It's possible. I think it's going to be really wild if they end up hiring just some random person most people haven't heard of. Because
what I want Jerry to actually do is go out on the street and just grab a guy and go, "Hey, you're the head coach of the Cowboys now."
Dude, for real, I almost expect that to happen because I feel like the team has been at such a blunder for so long.
Yeah.
That I'm starting to wonder if more and more coaches are not looking at that like it's actually a good job. Like I think a lot of coaches are looking and going, I have to work with Jerry and then I have to deal with that team culture. Like I don't know, man. It doesn't feel good. Kellen Moore could be it, but it could be just some schmuck. For all I know, Jerry Jones will pull you off of the podcast and go, "You need to be the head coach of the Cowboys."
I would say, well, I don't know. Depends how many
I was gonna
millions.
say that money. You might just be
That
like, for
money,
1 year, I'll take
sure,
it.
okay. Yeah.
For 1 year, I'll do it. Come
I'll do it
on.
for a year and you could fire me. I don't care.
You can fire me mid-season as long as I'll
Give
guarantee
me a
that
couple million, I'll be all right.
million. Exactly. All right. My fun next one. Maybe. Just maybe. The Browns don't draft a QB in the first round.
You know what? I'll eat that because I almost expect them to not do what everybody says they should do. Because they don't want to listen to anybody else. They're stupid.
No, they don't. I have a feeling, honestly, I would not be shocked if they make a play to try to get Sam Darnold. I wouldn't be shocked.
Nor would I. I also wouldn't be shocked if they trade that pick away.
Daddy, too. I wouldn't be shocked by that either.
Like, okay, I don't know what you're doing.
I wouldn't be shocked by that at all.
No, because there are plenty of quarterback needy teams that they would absolutely give up Buco Bucks for the second overall pick.
Oh, yeah.
There are some wide receiver needy teams that would give up Buco Bucks for the second overall pick.
Oh, yeah.
So
Heck, there are some running back teams that might do that.
Yeah, and like I'm looking at it and I'm going, nah, they could absolutely trade that pick and get set up for the future if that's what they want to. If they want to suffer through another year of garbage,
Because they will.
That they will, and restructure his contract so it's easier to get rid of him after this season. Just go through a bad year, have the pick traded out and get a plethora of picks back, so that you can be in the top five. At least the top 5 once, and then hopefully in the top 15 another time for trading that pick out. You know, yeah, no.
That's kind of my feeling too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's the right decision, but it sounds like that's
the right decision or not. But
it sounds like that's what might happen.
It would be smarter than what I expect of them, which is very minimal.
Draft a wide receiver, and then they're going to be in the free agency pick up a quarterback. 100%.
Yeah,
100% expect to do that.
They're going to pick up like
Travis,
Sam Darnold Travis Hunter, but they're not going to play him
at
wide receiver. They're going to put him at cornerback because that would be a
Browns that would be super stupid. There's no way they do that.
But that's the Browns thing to do.
I get it, but they wouldn't go out of their way to pick up a talented wide receiver and not play him at wide receiver. Like, they're dumb.
Well,
they're not quite
He's been playing both ways in college, so.
He has been, but he's been a better wide receiver than a
I agree with you, but the Browns are stupid.
They're not quite that dumb, though. They aren't quite that dumb.
I disagree.
They haven't moved a player position in a way that doesn't make sense. They've grabbed players that don't make sense.
So my last one, and this one is kind of fun, because it's a little open-ended.
Okay.
Maybe the Bears will not be the worst team in the NFC North next season?
So you're going to say the Packers will be the worst?
I didn't say who it's going to be. I just said it won't be the Bears.
Well, I know, but if it can't be the Bears, it's got to be one of the other three. The Lions doesn't make sense. The Vikings have been on an upward trend. So the only one that would make sense would be the Packers.
The Lions do make a little bit of sense because now we get to see how much of the offense was Dan Campbell and how much was Ben Johnson. And how much can
it was mostly probably Ben Johnson, but that doesn't mean that Dan Campbell can't get another offensive coordinator to be able to do that similar job.
Yeah.
So I don't think the Lions will dip that much. They might be a little bit, but I don't think it'll be a significant dip.
I agree with you.
I don't think.
I'm just saying.
So the only team that would logically make sense for that spot would be the Packers, and even then, they play well enough that I'd be shocked by that. The Vikings are optional if we don't have a QB. If Sam goes, like it sounds like it's probably gonna happen, and JJ McCarthy isn't fully ready, then there is a chance the Vikings just have a bum year, which can happen. But first-year head coach with a second-year draft pick, where you're trying to bring in a new system, a new culture. No, I think they'll probably still be at the bottom. I think the odds dictate that there's. Is it possible they aren't at the bottom? Yeah, but I arguably saying like it just.
Like I said, it's just fun.
It feels like they got more than one more. It feels like they got more than one more year before they're completely out of that hole that they dug themselves in.
That's fine.
But you never know. They could get that magical 1 year. I mean, Dan Quinn did it with the Commanders, so who am I to say? Speaking of, by the way, maybe, just maybe, the Commanders are going to win the Super Bowl.
I certainly hope so. That would be so much fun. I would love to see the Chiefs and the Commanders, and I would love to see the Commanders deny them the three-peat. The story there would just be amazing.
Also, the story for that
first-year head coach, rookie quarterback, winning.
Rookie quarterback. Not only have they not been to has a rookie coach and a rookie quarterback, or first-year head coach. Sorry, first-year head coach because Dan he has been a coach before. But first-year head coach and rookie quarterback has never gone to a Super Bowl together, and certainly never won.
Yeah, the storylines, if they were to win, would be amazing. Especially if they do it off of, like, one of those dramatic fourth quarter, under 2 minute drill comebacks that Daniels has become famous for.
Yeah, I don't know how the hell he's got.
That would be so
He is. James Daniels, the new Mahomes.
That would be so much fun to watch. But I think we'd get sick of it after a couple of years.
Probably, but I mean, at least we have somebody who can consistently compete on the other side for a while.
To me, for that also, I will say, I don't think I'll ever get tired of the Cowboys' pain on that, so I think I'll be okay with it.
The Cowboys. That's true.
All right.
They will have to deal with Wildflower for the rest of for the next 5 years.
Wildflower. If you know what, Tom, I'm calling you out. I'm gonna even tag you in this. If the Commanders go to the Super Bowl, you got to go to the Super Bowl as Wildflower and support them.
Wildflower. Well, if he doesn't, he'll definitely probably stream as Wildflower. I feel like it just feels like the thing he'd do.
Like, I don't even know what to do with my hands, man.
What do I do with my hands, man?
Is this what winning feels like? I like it.
So excited. I like it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, that's enough hot potatoes. We are not gonna do power rankings because there's only 4 teams left.
Yeah.
So we will do picking games for the championship round. Commanders and Eagles.
It's gonna be a good game, I think. Saquon could obviously have a huge game, depending on how the Commanders' run defense holds up.
I think it's going to be a shootout.
And I think there will be a little bit of that, but I think the Commanders are running into a harder defense, and we know this because they've already played each other twice and they split. So we know this is going to be a tough game for both teams. It should be a good game. I think I'm leaning Commanders, but it isn't by a lot.
I'll take the Eagles, just because I think, as much as I would love to watch the Commanders win the Super Bowl, just the Saquon factor, man.
I was gonna say that's the only reason I think Commanders. If
they didn't have Saquon, I'd be going Commanders 100%. Yeah. I don't even think the Eagles would be here if it wasn't for Saquon.
Yeah, 100%. If the Commanders can stop Saquon, I think they have a chance. But if they can't stop Saquon, then they're pretty much done. Yeah.
Yeah. Bills at Chiefs.
Historically speaking, it would be Chiefs. But I don't know. Bills have looked good, but last week was really bad. But the Ravens are a really good football team. Chiefs are a pretty decent football team. I don't know, man. I'm gonna pick Bills. Mostly because I just don't want the Chiefs to win.
I'm tired of, which is why I'm also picking the Bills.
It's gonna be probably a 50-50 game because like whenever the Chiefs are involved, it feels like games don't play normally whenever the Chiefs are involved.
I agree with you. But yeah, I'm also gonna go with the Bills on that. I'm tired of the Chiefs. All right, let's do the NHL Power Rankings, and we'll wrap this up and go home for the day. How about that?
We can do it.
All right, so the NHL Power Rankings. I told you that I have a team on here at number 10 that might be the lowest team in the NHL standings I've ever put on the power rankings.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be, at number 10, the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are currently 17th in the standings at 22, 18, and 7 with 51 points. But in their last 10, they're 7, 2, and 1. And even if you go back further, they are playing white-hot hockey right now. There is no way that I could legitimately leave them off this list, even though there are teams that are playing that have more points. Most of the teams above them are like 4 and 6, 6 and 4, stuff like that in their last 10. 2 and 8, 2, 7 and 1, stuff like that. And you look at the Columbus Blue Jackets and you go, yeah, I think they could legitimately beat most of these teams. At number 9, last year's Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers, 27, 17, and 3, 57 points. Last 10, 5, 4, and 1. They're playing good enough to hang on here. We'll see if they keep doing that. They keep dipping in and out of the bottom of the power rankings here. Number 8, the Vegas Golden Knights, 29, 14, and 4, 62 points. Last 10, 4, 5, and 1. Vegas is playing right around 500 hockey, and I don't like it. I don't know if that's... Well, I like it personally because I don't like Vegas, but from a team perspective, I'm not sure how deep they're going to go this year if they keep doing this. Number 7, the Carolina Hurricanes, 28, 16, and 3, 59 points. In their last 10, they are 6, 3, and 1. The Hurricanes seem to finally, after struggling a bit earlier this season... Right now, they're finding a good stride. I'm fairly impressed. I think they're going to do... They're turning it on right now just before, like, the Four Nations Cup is coming up and the trade deadline and then the playoffs, obviously. So we'll see how all of that goes for them. Number 6, we have the Minnesota Wild, 28, 15, and 5, 60 points overall. In their last 10, they are 6, 4, and 0. They just beat the Avalanche last night. They are still without their top defensive pair. They are still without their best scorer. And now they've lost another wing. They're hanging on. They keep finding ways to win games. And once they get some of these guys back, I think it's going to be game on. Number 5, the Winnipeg Jets, 31, 14, and 3, 65 points. In their last 10, they are 4, 4, and 2. They're playing 500 hockey again. They started really hot, and they've kind of fallen off. The only reason they're this high up is because of how hot they started. But if they keep on slipping like this, they could find themselves lower sooner rather than later. Number 4, the Dallas Stars, 29, 16, and 1, 59 points. Last 10, 7, 3, and 0. They're playing good hockey right now. If I were a team playing hockey right now, the Dallas Stars are not a team I would want to have to play. They're really playing tight hockey. They're playing good hockey. It's pretty amazing, really. Number 3, the Toronto Maple Leafs. 30, 16, and 2, 62 points. Last 10, 7, 3, and 0. They're starting to figure some stuff out. They've been getting decent goaltending recently. They're starting to figure out what kind of team they want to be, and they're starting to allow, Berube's starting to put lines into blenders and figure out different pairs and putting different people on the power play, and I think it's fun to watch. They're playing really hard. And quite frankly, I would not want to disappoint Craig Berube because he looks like he could snatch your soul out of your body. Number 2, the Edmonton Oilers, 29, 14, and 3, 61 points. Last 10, 8, 2, and 0. I expect them to drop because they don't have McDavid. But they may not because they still have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and they still have Leon Draisaitl. They don't have defense. They are an offensive team. And that offense has been clicking recently. Speaking of... Number 1, the Washington Capitals, 31, 10, and 5, 67 points. In their last 10, they are 7, 0, and 3. It's the Caps, man. I honestly think Ovi is probably going to break Gretzky's goals record this year. And he's been playing really well, the Great 8. We'll have to see how all of that goes. The only other real quick hockey-related news I have is in the next couple of weeks, we may begin to see a fire sale coming out of Pittsburgh with the Penguins. So does that mean Sidney Crosby gets traded? We'll have to keep an eyeball on that. Outside of that, I got nothing else. How about you?
No, I don't think that's it.
Well, this is a shorter episode today, but we do thank you for your patience of putting up with us. What we're going to say is we were very happy to have you along with us for this episode. We know that whatever you put your mind to, we believe you can accomplish. Go ahead and just make that happen. We believe in you. We will say, stay bearded. Subscribe to our channel. Hit the like button. We'll see you here next week. Peace out.